I forgot it was my birthday, and I'm alone. I'm 32 today. Nothing special. No big deal. In fact, I was reminded it was my birthday via a phone call from my mom. So I'm here at work, keeping quiet, doing my job, and feeling kinda down. Now that I've been reminded that it's my birthday, not the first time I've forgotten, I plan to turn things around for me tonight. Gonna smoke some weed, treat myself to a nice steak dinner, and go watch Oppenheimer alone. Cheers. My sister is dating and in love with my ex-boyfriend and I feel betrayed. Ex-BF, 23, and I, 22, have been dating since 11th grade and I thought he was going to be the love of my life until my last breath. We were inseparable and deeply in love, sharing laughter, dreams, and aspirations. Like any couple, we had fair share of arguments, but always communicated openly, resolving out differences with understanding and compassion. But then 5 months ago, out of the blue my ex-BF decided to stop our relationship and he didn't explain why. Even though I kept asking what did I do. He then blocked me on social media, and I just accepted it. I then opened up to my sister 28, cried to her because she has been my best friend since we were a kid. We shared joys, sorrows, and secrets, laughing and crying, and as the years passed, our connection grew even stronger. We supported each other through the toughest of times and celebrated our triumphs together. Our love for one another was like a shield against the world. The past 5 months has been tough for me, but I was getting better considering I didn't get any closure on what happened between my ex and I. I barely go out anymore because I'm still spiraling, but then my mom entered my room and told me to fix myself because my ex is downstairs and wanted to talk to me. I then went downstairs pretending that I'm all better. I sat down with my ex-BF, asked him what he was doing here and told me there's something that I need to know, and I was like finally, and he said we should wait for my sister, and at that point I was like weird but okay. Maybe he was just looking out for me and will need my sister for the information that he's about to say. My sister then got home from work after 20 minutes and she asked him what he was doing here, and my ex-BF said I need to tell her, and I just pulled my sister close because I know this is either he cheated, or he got someone pregnant, or he's gay. My sister pulled away and at that time I didn't think much of it, but now I can tell why she was acting weird. My ex-BF then bluntly said me and your sister are dating and we're in love, and the only word that came out of my mouth before I froze was what? In a confused tone because like, what? My sister explained, but I just didn't hear anything even though she was close to me because I'm clouded with emotions and just started to tear up, then went upstairs to my room and locked myself up, and as for my parents, they heard everything because they were just in the kitchen. Important. I cried for what felt like hours because my head started to hurt because I was dehydrated. I toughened myself up, just to go downstairs and get some cold water because I needed it, and when I got downstairs, no one is there but my mom. She hugged me and said I know it hurts, I can't imagine how you feel. Take all the time you need. But find it in your heart to forgive them, especially your sister, because there's nothing you can do. It's love. I, of course, was surprised because she's taking her side and just wants me to forgive them, especially my sister. I rushed upstairs to pack my bag and staying over to my friend who validates my feelings and emotions because I feel so betrayed by my own family, and also what just happened was just beyond messed up. Mini update. First, I'd like to thank you all for validating what I'm feeling. Second, I haven't got a chance to talk to my dad because I left ASAP. Third, my mom, sister, and ex-BF are blocked, and I asked my friend to block them as well considering my ex-BF knows who my friends are. Also, I deactivated all of my social media. Fourth, my parents won't have any idea whose friends I'm staying because they don't know anything about my life besides being just a daughter. I'm not really close with them after years of verbal abuse. Fifth, my friend told me I can stay as long as I want, so I'm going for temporary no contact to them until I compose myself to confront them and hear them out. That's all for now. I will update as soon as something happens. I'm getting married in 2 weeks and I am totally screwed. I literally need to get this off my chest. I feel like I am going insane. My fiancée Sarah, 28F, and me, 34 meters, have known each other for about 6 years, engaged for 1. Our wedding is scheduled to take place in just 2 weeks, and I just witnessed something that is making me feel like I am making the biggest mistake in my life. Tonight Sarah and I were taking a rare opportunity to relax at home. Sarah was in the kitchen making dinner while I was out back working on one of my projects. We live on acreage and I am building a pagoda/fire pit in the backyard that we were planning on using this fall. Anyway, as you do when you're doing heavy labor, I get thirsty and come back to the house to get a drink where I see Sarah at the counter preparing dinner and talking on speakerphone. I recognize the voice instantly as my brother-in-law Marty. Now, this is where my brain gets totally twisted. Marty asks Sarah where her sister Evelyn is as he's been trying to get in contact with her and she's not answering texts, and I hear Sarah say to him, "She just left here, she should be home in a half hour or so." It should be noted that Evelyn is Marty's wife of 5 years. I have to admit that I didn't immediately register what she had just said, because I went into the kitchen and grabbed a glass and asked Sarah what was that all about? And she responds with Marty was looking for Evie. I see her texting and I ask her what are you doing? And she says I'm texting Evie that Marty was looking for her. Anyway, I pour myself a drink, sit down, have a sip, and then finally my brain starts to work. First off, I heard Sarah tell Marty that Evelyn was here. Evelyn was not here, and the last time we saw her was yesterday when she came over to work on some last-minute wedding decoration stuff with Sarah. Secondly, why is she texting Evelyn and expecting a response when I distinctly heard Marty that Evelyn wasn't answering her texts? Lastly, why the hell would she tell Marty that Evelyn should be back in 30 minutes unless she either knows where she is, then why did she lie? Or she is, right now in front of me, texting her to tell her to get her butt home quickly. The only conclusion that I came up with is that Sarah is lying to Marty about the whereabouts of her sister, Marty's wife, and is probably warning Evie that Marty will expect her home in half an hour. I then spent probably the next 5 hours concocting various explanations for this behavior, some decent, some downright horrible, and playing them back in my head. I wanted, really badly, to ask Sarah about this, but at the same time, if what I think is going on, then I doubted I'd get a straight answer, which brings me to about an hour ago. I woke up around 1 a.m. to use the toilet, and I couldn't resist the urge to check Sarah's phone. We both know each other's pins, so this wasn't a difficult thing to do. Anyway, I grabbed the phone, retreated to the bathroom and unlocked it, and yup, it was exactly what I was afraid of and probably what most of you were expecting. Sarah's sister Evelyn has been having an affair for about 6 months with a co-worker, and Sarah has been helping Evelyn cover it up for almost that entire time. There are literally hundreds of texts between them discussing it, discussing the co-worker, discussing sex stuff, really embarrassing things about my brother-in-law, and probably uncharitable, just stuff that makes my stomach churn, and here is my soon-to-be wife going along with all of it without batting an eye. I took some screenshots of the entire thread, put the phone back where I found it, and then retreated to my home office to find myself here typing it all out on Reddit simply so I can avoid the primal scream that wants to come out of my mouth right now. I am, totally 100% screwed. Reddit, I cannot marry Sarah. I just cannot do it. I can't think of any reasonable excuse she could offer me about assisting her sister in this affair and victimizing not only Marty, but their 2-year-old daughter as well. On the other hand, myself, my family, Sarah and her family, have all sunk an enormous amount of money into a wedding that is supposed to happen in around 2 weeks. There is no way we are getting any of that money back. On top of that, I feel like an absolute fool. Like, how did I not know this woman was like this? And what the hell am I going to do? I can't marry her, I absolutely cannot. However, I still want to. She's beautiful and fun and kind, and I thought we had a bright future ahead of us. She's never done anything wrong to me, but I just can't see her the same now. It's like a big black stain on an otherwise beautiful picture. I just don't know how the fuck I got this so wrong, and I'm absolutely dreading doing what I know I need to do. I feel like I want to vomit or break something. My parents told my brother they don't want to see him anymore for being gay. This is the worst situation ever, but I'm glad that I'm able to help him. I, 21M, have a younger brother, 16M. We have always been close, and he oftentimes chooses to come to me over our parents when he's struggling, as our parents aren't the best in that regard. He told me he was gay last month. I was happy that he told me, but worried at our parents' reaction. He told me he would figure something out, and I told him to call me if he ever needs help. Last night he called me sobbing, telling me that our parents kicked him out and don't want him anymore. He said that they found out he was gay and started calling him a predator and a freak, and said they don't want a gay son around their house. My heart broke when I heard that. My brother is the best kid and my parents did that. I hate my parents so much right now. I went and picked him up and he is staying at my apartment. He is a mess and I'm doing my best to comfort him. I want my parents to suffer for what they did. How can someone do that to an innocent child? I'm going to try and get custody of him. He deserves someone who loves him for who he is. My marriage was worse than I thought. 2 weeks ago, my wife of 15 years and I had a big fight. She ending up posting some vague cry for help type post on Facebook, and I get a call from my brother. I'm not on Facebook, and he knows that, so this was him calling to let me know and asked me how she's doing. I want to say, my brother and I never talk about relationship stuff. Mostly because I don't want to bitch at him about my wife and engender any ill will between them. My brother and his wife are basically our couple's date partners. We play board games every couple weeks, we go on vacation together since our kids are around the same age, etc. His wife is friends with my wife. Well, I thought so, and they text about things a decent bit as well, and I was always glad that there was friendship between the four of us and never wanted to risk it. But this time was different. I was in a dark place, and after I assured them my wife was fine, and we'd just had a fight, I basically broke down and told him how I'd been unhappy lately. He stopped me and said, "Hey, just so you know, my wife is in the room with me, and she heard a bit of that." I was like, "I don't care, put me on speaker for all I care." I told him, basically, I felt like my wife was always putting me down, arguing with me over trivial stuff, and just generally being rude and condescending to me. I asked if I was imagining it. Let me tell you, the dam burst. He basically said of course I wasn't imagining it, everyone knows she does that. People have talked about it plenty of times. Then his wife starts talking. She says she's seen how much I pour into the relationship and how little my wife does. How my wife never helps with the kids, how she orders me around, how she's just basically mean to me all the time. Then goes into a story about how her dad always walked over mom, stuff I'd never heard before, and how she had tried to get her mom to leave her dad over and over, and said if I decided to ever make the decision, the kids would be fine, and it was better, in her experience, than growing up in a toxic household. I realized my sister-in-law is telling me she thinks I should get a divorce. I polled 1 or 2 other friends over the next couple of days. They all said the same thing. I didn't realize how bad it was. I half thought I was imagining it, but no, apparently no one likes the way my wife treats me, and they're all amazed I thought this was just normal couples bickering. So, please, if you have a friend or loved one like me who's in a bad relationship and is still in it for reasons you can't fathom, maybe pull them aside and talk to them sometime. An outside perspective is really important, and I didn't have one until now.